Hi, Jessica here, Yoga for Everybody, representing Zen Active Sports, presenting some of my favorite yoga poses. I'm actually going to cover a couple different poses in this video. They are basically transitional poses. We use these poses a lot to transition from one pose to the next. We do a lot of counter stretching with these poses, so I wanted to just take a few minutes to really break down those transitional poses so I can give you guys all the different options that we have for these wonderfully relaxing and fabulous poses. The corpse pose is one of them, and knees to chest pose is another, and I'll probably also go over the child's pose. So if we want to transition slowly down to the mat in a supine position, we can start in the corpse pose. Okay, so grabbing hold of one of the thighs, slowly rolling down to the back, bringing both legs flat to the mat, allowing the feet to flop to the side. Allowing the fingers to curl in towards the palms of the hands. And let's take this moment to examine how we're feeling today physically. So let's take notice of anywhere that we may be holding on to tension or stress. A lot of people tend to hold tension in the face without even realizing it. So one thing that I always tell my students to help with that is to just put a little smile on the lips. It'll help relieve tension that you might have that you don't even know it's there. If you're having trouble identifying other areas that you may be holding on to tension, we could just do a quick body scan. So let's start with the feet and bring our awareness to our feet. Then with the inhale of the breath, we can imagine grabbing a hold of all the tension that's inside of the toes. Okay, and then with the exhale of the breath, we can imagine releasing that tension from the toes. Okay, and with the next inhale, we'll move our awareness up to the ankles. So, inhaling, grabbing a hold of that tension in the ankles, exhaling, releasing the ankles. Okay, and then step by step we can gradually move up through the body. Next, focusing our awareness on the calves and the shins. With the next breath, we can move our awareness up to the knees. And then the quads and the hamstrings. The pelvis and the glute. The abdomen and the low back. The upper and middle back and the chest. Now let's move our awareness up to the shoulders and the shoulder blades. And we can go down to the fingertips. The wrists. The forearms. The elbow. The biceps and the triceps. And back up to the shoulders and the neck. The jaw and the throat. The lips and the cheeks. The nose. The eyes. The ears. The third eye and the forehead. And finally, the top of the head. Now that we've done a full body scan, let's imagine with each inhale, the body floats up off the mat ever so slightly. And then with each exhale of the breath, the body sinks down into the mat like it's melting. Inhaling, floating up. Exhaling, sinking and melting down. When we're ready to move on from this pose, we can bring the knees into the chest, keeping the knees hip-width apart, or if we wanted to make more room, we could widen the hips or the knees wider than hip-width apart, if that feels better. Okay, and another option that we have to modify this pose is to put a blanket under the glute. Well, I guess it's on top of the glute, under the calves. Okay, so this will just create, obviously, a little cushion here. Take a little pressure off the hamstrings. We could still rock from side to side, because that always feels amazing. And then a nice little counter stretch that we can practice after knees to chest is the child's pose. So let's make our way to child's pose by first bringing the arms up over the head, rolling onto one side, and slowly pushing ourselves up to a seated position. And then swinging the knees around so that we come to be seated on the knees. Okay, we'll keep the knees hip width apart, or we can keep them together if that feels good. Inhaling, bringing the arms up. Exhaling, hinging nice and slowly. Bringing the hands and the forearms to the mat. And then finally, bringing the forehead down to the mat. Another option that we have here is to bring the hands back by the feet. This allows for a little more relaxation in the shoulder blades. If we wanted to modify this pose, we could elevate the level of the floor with our blocks, and we could use a blanket under the glute for cushion. We could also, of course, bring those knees wider than hip width apart to allow for more space. So inhaling up, exhaling down, planting that forehead on the block. Notice how each of these poses really allows us to focus on the rhythm and the quality and the movement of the breath. Maybe you'll want to experiment with the level that the block is placed, vertical, horizontal, or flat. Maybe you'll find that as you hold the pose, you can gradually progress deeper into the expression of the pose with each exhale of the breath. You'll notice it's with the exhales that the muscles tend to release a little more tension. After 7 to 9 deep breaths here, we can come out of the pose first by bringing the head up and then slowly walking the hands in towards the lap and bringing it back around to a comfortable seated position. So thanks for practicing some of my favorite transitional poses from a supine position, the corpse pose, knees to chest, and then we brought it back around to the child's pose. So I hope you enjoy my tips. Stay tuned for more tips and videos on Zen Active Sports at www.zenactivesports.com. Thanks again for practicing with me. Namaste.